Back again with another Bond review, and today we're going to talk about The World Is Not Enough. And this was actually the first Bond movie I ever saw. Keep in mind this is probably back in 2001. I did have the VHS tape, and I remember watching this quite a bit. I thought at the time, being 12, this was the coolest thing. Between this and playing GoldenEye, the video game, that was kind of my introduction to Bond. That I didn't grow up watching the early Bond movies, the one with Sean Connery and Roger Moore. Even GoldenEye, I didn't watch that till later. Again, this was the first Bond movie I ever watched. And, rewatching it again all these years later for this marathon, it's not a great movie. I mean, it's not the worst. The worst is yet to come, but you could definitely throw this in that category because it's just, something's missing here. GoldenEye is a great movie. Tomorrow Never Dies is an entertaining Bond film, underrated. And now this film is directed by Michael Apted. Now, recently he's passed away, which is unfortunate. But I look at his filmography. This guy, he directed Coal Miner's Daughter. He also directed Critical Condition, which I think is a comedy with Richard Pryor. Gorillas in the Mist. He would go on to direct Thunderheart. Looking at his filmography right here. Extreme Measures, which is a good movie, definitely underrated. No, not a lot of people talk about that movie, but that's a good movie. Enough with Jennifer Lopez after this movie. And I don't know if he was the right director for this. If I could be honest. I mean, it's nothing against Michael Apted. And again, I'm sorry he's passed away. He passed away last month, actually. I just don't know if he was fit for this. I look at his filmography, and again, I like Extreme Measures. That's a good movie. And I'm sorry, I'm just pulling up some stuff right here, but I just don't think he was fit for this movie to direct a Bond film. When I could think of other directors who could have done this, like, a Rennie Harlin. What would a Rennie Harlin do with this movie? I think he would have brought more to the action, more to, the tone of the movie. It just feels, with Michael Apted here directing, the direction is pedestrian. It's nowhere near Martin Campbell and what he did for GoldenEye. Roger Spottiswoode, who directed Tomorrow Never Dies, at least you can say he's delved more into the genre of action prior to that, because he directed Shoot to Kill and, Air America. So it seems like Roger Spottiswoode has more of a pulse on the action and driving the action. Michael Apted, and again, what he's directed is nothing to scoff at. Coal Miner's Daughter, which that's a classic. Gorillas in the Mist, which I have the film, and that got a lot of big critical notices. Thunderheart, I've heard a lot of good things about that movie, and I do have the film. Extreme Measures, I think, is a better movie. I think that's underrated. Again, not a lot of people talk about that film. I haven't seen Critical Condition. He also directed a film called Class Action with Gene Hackman, which I never heard of, but it looks good. Looking at it right here on IMDb, it looks like a good movie. Like a court movie. But again, I don't know if Michael Apted, I'm sorry if it's getting dark in here a little bit. I'm at the mercy of the sunlight. This is the second time I've had to do this, but we're gonna make it work here. So there you go. Maybe that will help a little bit. Maybe. No sunshine. Oh yeah, that helped a little bit. So again, Michael Apted, I don't think he was fit for this movie. I think if you would have gotten a better director that had, you know, more of a pulse on the action and driving the action and working on the tone of the movie. But, you know, talking about the plot real quick, I'll go over that. You have, again, Bond, he's back here, and this oil tycoon is murdered at MI6, and, you know, Bond is sent to protect his daughter. You have our villain here in the film, played by Robert Carlyle, this character Renard, who he has a bullet lodged in his brain, and as a result, he can't feel pain. You know, which is an interesting element, or aspect, I should say, to a villain. So you have, again, the main villain here, Renard, that, you know, his character, you know, can't feel pain, and that's his whole, you know, gimmick. And he is secretly planning the destruction of a pipeline, and, you know, Bond is trying to find out more about that, and soon he gains help from this research scientist played by Denise Richards. Yeah, her character in the film, which that's another thing to talk about. But, you know, she is a witness to the action and what happens to, you know, Bond a little bit later on, because, you know, they're investigating all the stuff like the plot of our villain here and more about our main villain. And then Bond starts to become suspicious of the daughter that he's trying to protect. I think the character's name is, Electric King, played by Sophie Marceau. So Bond is becoming suspicious of her. And then towards the end of the film, Judi Dench's character's taken by our villains here. So Bond is trying to, you know, again, he's working with Denise Richards to stop our villains, you know, to stop their, you know, plot and to rescue M and to prevent, you know, our main villain from destroying Europe here. And again, that's kind of the plot. But, you know, when you look at the cast here, going back for a second on IMDb, you know, again, Pierce Brosnan, he's not the problem here. You know, and that's, again, he's fine. I mean, again, he was a great Bond. Now, the next movie, and I can't blame Pierce Brosnan for the next movie, but, you know, at least he's one thing that's consistent. Like, you know, Pierce Brosnan, again, he's more of my era, my generation, and he was a great Bond. And I don't know what it is about these movies, because I love GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, but it just seems like after Tomorrow Never Dies, you know, this film is, you know, 2 or 3 steps down, and then by the time you get to, you know, the next one, Die Another Day, you know, it's off the fucking cliff. You know, this one is nowhere near, but I'll talk about that towards the end when I give some overall thoughts here. I'll go over the cast first. But again, Sophie Marceau as Electric King, that, you know, at first you don't really suspect anything, but later on she, you know, you find out that she's working for our main villain here. And she's okay. She's not, acting wise, she's not bad, but nothing too memorable for me. I don't mind the actress, but again, I don't know, maybe a different actress would have worked better. I don't know if she was anything spectacular. You know, she was there. I mean, I would say, you know, she was okay at best. You have Robert Carlyle as our main villain, Renard. And I liked the aspect here to our villain that he can't feel pain because he has this bullet lodged in his brain. They actually say in the movie, medulla oblongata. I'm like, what is this, the water boy? I'm like, I mean, the water boy came out a year before, so it's like, oh, we can't come up with the term, you know, for that part of the brain, so let's just borrow from that movie. You know, the medulla oblongata. I don't know, I thought that was funny, but yeah, Robert Carlyle, he's he's not in the film too much. Not the film as much as you would think. I mean, he comes later on. It seems like, he comes into play more later on, like a little bit in the second act and then more in the third act. Robert Carlyle I like as an actor, but I don't know if he was right for this. Like, again, I like him as an actor, but to me, he didn't really display a ton of intimidation. I like the concept of a villain that can't feel pain. So maybe if you would have had, like if you would have had a different actor for this, I think it would have been a little bit better. Maybe like a Willem Dafoe or, somebody like that. Somebody that's very good at playing a villain that if he had a Willem Dafoe, I think he would have done better here than, let's say, a Speed 2. But I think he would have been, Willem Dafoe has more of a presence. Robert Carlyle, he's good in other stuff, but again, I don't know if he was, for me, the most intimidating. Even with the stuff where he can't feel pain, it's like, really go for it, because it only seems like they touch on it, once, like here and there. Like you see his character, grab a piece of hot coal or, something of that sort. It's like they don't really go all the way to there, with that aspect of it. Like, okay, you have a villain here that can't feel pain, really go for it. Go for broke with it. And go all the way out with it. And, again, maybe I would have had a different actor, like a Willem Dafoe, what have you. Denise Richards, as a scientist, yeah, you can't buy it, you can't believe it, and I would not buy it for a pound. Like, thinking about Bond here, for the British and all that, would not buy it for a damn pound. Yeah, Denise Richards, she is definitely one of the, downfalls of this movie, because again, you can't believe in her as a scientist, and she's not bad to look at, but, I mean, it's like if Pamela Anderson was a scientist, would you believe it? And Denise Richards, again, she's one of the, downfalls of the film. I didn't really care for her character. That's just me. You also have the character of Valentine, who was in Goldeneye before. He's back here. You have Judi Dench as the character of M. Again, great addition to, and the best M to me. I thought she really brought the character to life, and it made you really care for the character of M. Judi Dench, did a great job. This is the last time you would see Q, unfortunately. That year, I think Desmond and Llewelyn died in a auto accident. And the way that they kind of have, like you see his character once in the film where he introduces John Cleese, his character. And John Cleese would actually come back for the next one, Die Another Day. Thank you for your input, sir. And again, you only get one scene here with Q where he's talking to Bond, and again, you get the introduction of John Cleese in the film. And they even, like, Bond even makes a joke about, oh, so if you're Q, he's R, right? And yeah, the character's name is R. But, the final scene between him and Bond, Q and Bond, I thought was a nice touch. I forgot the piece of dialogue about where Q's like, remember I taught you two things. And again, I forgot the lines. But again, it was a nice touch for the character. So, as far as Desmond Llewelyn, he's definitely missed here. Now, like I said, it's unfortunate what happened to him. But, love Q. And the addition of John Cleese. I like John Cleese. But he just doesn't fit here. He just wasn't, to me, a good substitute for, Q. Like, even in Die Another Day, I don't know why. I mean, and again, I like John Cleese. But, to me, he just doesn't belong in these movies. It just seemed like, oh, we need another, British actor that is established to sort of take on this role because, Desmond Llewelyn, and again, unfortunately, what happened to him that year, but again, John Cleese, I just felt like, okay, it's a little bit too much of trying to make it a comedy. And again, I like John Cleese, but he just wasn't a good fit for that type of character. And to get some other characters, but for the most part, I would say to me the downfalls of the cast, Sophie Marceau, she's not bad to look at, but I don't think her character was anything spectacular. Again, Robert Carlyle, I would have had a different actor. Denise Richards, again, you can't buy it. You can't buy her as a scientist. A 3-year-old would not buy her as a scientist. Judi Dench, she's great in the movie. And that's the thing. To me, the constants of these movies in this era, Pierce Brosnan and Judi Dench. To me, they both work, and even as with these movies, it just seems like, each film just goes further and further down. This movie being, 3 steps down from Tomorrow Never Dies, and Die Another Day just goes off a cliff. At least Pierce Brosnan and Judi Dench, they're trying. So I will say that, they deserve credit. Even if the films, it just seemed like between this movie and Die Another Day, it just doesn't get any better. At least I give credit to those two. So good job with the cast. I mean, the action scenes, the stuff in the beginning where Bond is going after this girl and they go from here to here to here. I like some of that bit. I don't really care for the theme, to be honest. Who sung the damn theme? Garbage? Yeah, I think the theme was by Garbage. I didn't really care for the theme all that much. I felt that Tomorrow Never Dies was a better theme. Don't get me started on the next one by Madonna. Golly. So, I mean, the stuff in the beginning's fun. There's some bits of action. Where Bond is in this underground facility, and that's where he first has his first confrontation with the villain, and you get a little bit of gunplay. It's nothing. I mean, it's there. It's good action. I mean, nothing grand, but it's there. You get some stuff on this pipeline where they're trying to stop this bomb, and I thought that was fun. We have Bond and the girl, on this thing in the pipeline, and it's about to explode because you have this bomb, and I thought that was fun. Some stuff in the end where they're on the submarine, even though the submarine does this, it hits the bottom, you wonder why it doesn't just lay back down, or why doesn't the whole thing take up water, but it was there. I like some of the bits of action here, even though they're nothing grand on the scale of, let's say GoldenEye, or even Tomorrow Never Dies for that matter. But there were some decent bits in here. I remember the stuff on, the dock where they're trying to kill the Valentine character, who's helping Bond. And you have this helicopter that has like these blades, like these saw blades, and it's tearing up the dock. Fun stuff. Some good action here and there, but it doesn't save the movie. So, overall, at the end of the day, almost said Die Another Day. The water's not enough. It just... Again, it's 3 steps down from, Tomorrow Never Dies, which I felt was a much better Bond movie. And this one just kind of, for me, falls into the mediocre category. Michael Apted, again, I don't think he was the right director for this movie. I felt if he would have had a Rennie Harlan or Jan de Bont, imagine what a Jan de Bont would have done with this, the guy that directed Speed and Twister. You needed somebody that had more of a pulse on the action, that can really direct the action and bring home the action, and bring more than just, pedestrian direction. And again, I like Michael Apted, some of the films he's done, but I don't think he was the right fit for this movie. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for this movie. It's just a mediocre Bond movie. The worst is yet to come. Like I said, the worst is yet to come, but this, yeah. It's just, to me, it could have been so much better. I much prefer, GoldenEye is better than this by 10 miles. Tomorrow Never Dies is way better. And again, it's unfortunate that, Pierce, he did 4 Bond movies, but only 2 are really good. After Tomorrow Never Dies, it just seemed to really go down, really go downhill. But just a mediocre Bond movie. So that's it for my review of The World Is Not Enough. Now, thank you for watching, and stay tuned, because up next, I'm going to die another day. That's right. Stay tuned for that. We'll see you later.